Good morning and welcome to the 2020 Columbus Realtors Annual Business Meeting. I'm Andy Mills, your 2020 President, and I officially call this virtual meeting to order. As a point of business, I'd like to ask each of you that have logged in this morning, and we appreciate you taking the time, to actually turn off your cameras. We're going to be sharing a lot of content this morning, and the view for other members is of your videos. So if you can shut off your videos right now, we'd greatly appreciate that so you can see all of the content that we're putting up on your screen. As you know, our theme this year is Better Together. I chose this because I've never been a person who likes doing things alone. Playing team sports for as long as I can remember, and the act of working together continues to be the most rewarding way to accomplish a goal. I really do believe that when individuals of different backgrounds and viewpoints come together, the end result is better than if you were trying to do it alone. As an association, we are playing an infinite game. Each day, week, month, and year, we will continue to try to be better than we were the day before, because we can't settle to be good or even to be the best. We must certainly strive to be better. The only way to do that is together. Today we're going to take a look at what we've accomplished this year and what's in store moving forward. Just like our in-person meeting, we do have a packet of materials, and if you'd like to follow along, the link to the meeting packet was included in the email with the Zoom link you received last night. Before we get into the business of our meeting, I'd like to ask Lori Molnar to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. This year, Lori received the 2020 Distinguished Service Award from Ohio Realtors. This award was created to honor long-standing members who have demonstrated uncommon commitment to the goals and purposes of the Realtor Association at a local, state, and national level. This is very appropriate as Lori has been an invaluable asset to us for many years, chairing the MLS Board of Directors, our Broker Advisory Council, and multiple committees. She has also been honored as our 2018 Broker of the Year, our 2014 Instructor of the Year, and received Ohio Realtors Excellence in Community Service Award in 2010. Lori holds the ABR, CRB, GRE, SRES designations, and I hear she's someone you'll definitely want on your Trivial Pursuit team. Lori?
Thank you, President Andy. Please join me in our pledge to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Lori. I'll turn it over to Patty now.
Thank you, Lori, and good morning. I'm Patty Brown Wright, and I have the honor of serving as your secretary this year. As such, I would like to affirm that we do have a quorum for this meeting. According to our bylaws, a quorum for the transaction of business at any regular or special meeting of the association shall consist of those realtor, affiliate, sustaining, and commercial members present. If you'll turn to page 3 in your handout, you'll find the minutes from last year's annual business meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If you have a correction, please post it in the chat. There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved. Now, if you would please review the meeting's agenda found on page 1 of your handout, I would like to call for an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If so, please type in the chat. Seeing no suggestions in the chat, please vote yes to approve the agenda, no to oppose approval of the agenda via the pop-up poll. The yeses have it. The agenda stands approved.
Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
At this time, I'd like to recognize your 2020 officers and directors. These dedicated volunteers share their time and talents to improve our Realtor community and are critical to the success of Columbus Realtors. Your officers, President-elect Michael Jones, Treasurer J.P. Faulkner, Secretary Patty Brown Wright, CEO John Giha, Directors Gary Francis, Gretchen Rogenson, Andrew Show, Tricia Tennyson, Gary Cook, Addie Davis Holtzinger, Mandy Harless, Jeremy Pape, Terry Bryant, Buffy Patterson, Travis Shaw, Sue Van Workum, Jason Hoddle, Sean Simpson, your Commercial Advisory Board Director, Matt Dixon, your Affiliate Director, Marie Smith, your immediate past president, John Myers, and your Broker Advisory Board Director, Lori Molnar, Madison County Director, Liz Fincham, Union County Director, Rich Balch. Today we're also joined by our association attorney at Baker & Hostetler, Jack Birch, and our association CPA at Ray & Associates, Brent Arden. It is now time to proceed with the nomination and election process for the 2020 Columbus Realtors Nominating Committee, which you'll find on pages 5 through 12 of your packet. To handle this process, I'll turn the podium over to your President-elect, Michael Jones.
Thank you, Andy. Today, you will be electing this year's Board of Directors Nominating Committee. But the fact that we're not in person to do this means the election will work a bit differently this year. Before we get to the Nominating Committee nominations, let's talk about the director election itself. This year, we will be electing 4 new Realtor directors and 1 affiliate director. Anyone wishing to run for a director position must submit their resume, signed description, job description, completed bio, and picture to Columbus Realtors by 5 p.m. tomorrow, October 16th. In order to qualify for any director position, you must have been a member of Columbus Realtors for 3 years, continuous years, immediately preceding this election. The following criteria also will be considered by the nominating committee when preparing the slate. Service as a member or chair of Columbus Realtors committees, demonstrated support for Columbus Realtors advocacy, such as our foundation, CORPAC, or Realtor Care Day, service to the community, and success in the industry. A link to the online director ballot will be emailed to each eligible member on Tuesday, November 3rd. This coincides with this country's general election, so that should be easy to remember. The online election will be open for 7 days. In order to receive an online ballot, you must have a valid email address on file with the association. An email with this information was sent to members last Friday with the information about the upcoming director election. If you did not receive that email, please notify the association's membership department so we can update your email address. Now, on to the election of the nominating committee. The nominating committee itself is charged with putting together a slate of qualified candidates for the Columbus Realtors directors. This year, nominating committee is made up of 1 past president, those elected Realtor directors whose terms expire this year, and 4 Realtor members at large whom you will elect today. Those elected directors whose terms expire this year include Gary Francis, Gretchen Rogerson, Andrew Scho, Tricia Tennyson, John Myers, and Mac Dixon. Past President Kathy Shiflett has been appointed to the committee, and John Myers will serve as chair. Today, we are charged with selecting 4 at-large members to serve on the nominating committee. These members must be realtors, but cannot be a current director or past president. And of course, no member of the nominating committee can run for director. Those elected to the nominating committee must be available for a meeting on Monday, October 19th at 9 a.m. to form a slate of candidates. Those nominating committee members must also attend a meeting Tuesday, November 10th at 1 p.m. to ratify the election results. If you cannot make both of these meetings on October 19th and November 10th, please do not accept a nomination to run for this position. Those wishing to serve on the nominating committee must be present here today or have submitted in writing prior to this meeting their willingness to serve if elected. We will now take nominations from the floor via the chat. Only 1 nomination per person, please. As the nominations are made, we will type them on the screen. I see that Joe Jackson has been nominated. My apologies. I see that Tracy Coe has been nominated. As she is unable to be with us today, she did submit in advance her willingness to serve. I also see Bob Case has been nominated. As he's unable to be with us today, he has also submitted in advance his willingness to serve. I see Bill Benninghoffen has been nominated. Thank you for your patience. I see Susan Mullinax has been nominated, and as she is unable to attend today, she has submitted in advance her willingness to serve. And now I see Joe Jackson has been nominated. As he is unable to attend in person, he did submit in advance his willingness to serve. We have Chris Harrington. Chris Harrington has also indicated her willingness to serve. We see Jeff Wu has been nominated. And as he also is unable to attend, he has submitted in advance his willingness to serve. We have 8 members. Thank you. Have all confirmed, all of those listed confirmed that they are willing to serve? Okay. So, again, we have 8, and we are being asked to close nominations. As we have 8 nominations, I'd ask for a motion to close.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote yes to close nominations. Okay. The poll is being addressed right now. Please stand by while we work to resolve this matter. What's her name?
Linda Long.
Okay, I'm sorry. The esteemed Linda Long has been nominated, but as past president, she is not eligible to serve on the nominating committee. Okay. We have determined that the poll is not currently working as designed, and without objection, I would ask that we close nominations and utilize the 8 nominations that we have.
11.
11. So we have, I'll read the names just so we have them. Tracy Coe, Bob Case, Bill Benninghoffen, Susan Mullinex, Joe Jackson, Chris Harrington, Carol Summer, Jill Fergus, Jeff Wu, Rob Matney, and Ian Thixton. So again, without objection, I will accept the 2 motions, or the first and the second of the motion, to close nominations, and we will proceed. Now, please listen carefully as we're going to tell you how this election will occur. As we are unable to use a Zoom poll for this vote of this type, we will be handling this vote via an online election process, using the same system we've been using for years for our online elections. Those individuals who were just nominated will be added to the ballot by the end of this meeting. You will have until 2:00 p.m. today to cast your ballot. A unique link to your online ballot was emailed to all Realtor registrants last night. If you can't find your ballot, please check your spam or junk folder. If you still don't see your ballot, please visit crelections.com. Again, that's C like Columbus, R like Realtors, elections.com, and select Help. Fill in your name and the email address you used to register for this meeting. Click Request Help, and your voting credentials will be emailed to you. Remember, you have until 2:00 p.m. today to cast your ballot for the nominating committee. We will announce the results by end of business today. Now, I'd like to call upon Treasurer J.P. Faulkner to review the financial reports of the association and MLS. As these reports are quite detailed, please refer to your handout during this presentation.
Good morning, everyone. This year we'll be using a new format to deliver the annual Treasurer's Report. We have asked our auditor, Brent Ardent, CPA with Ray & Associates, to present a short report on the annual audit and financial reports for Columbus Realtors and MLS. Brent?
Thank you, JP. So I'd first like to direct everybody to page 9 of their packet. Pages 9, 10, and 11 are the a portion of the financial statement. So, normally with the financial statement packet, we have the basic financial statements, our independent auditor's report, and our notes to the financial statements. So looking at page 9 here, again, the independent auditor's report, you'll notice that's dated August 7th of 2020. That was our report date for the audit. Normally that's, we issue this in April, May timeframe, but due to COVID and the pandemic, put a little bit of a delay on that. But want to walk through this report. I always say whenever I'm presenting a set of financial statements, a set of audited financial statements, I always like to say this page right here on page 9, Independent Auditor's Report, is the only page within the entire set of financial statements that's ours, or the firm itself. The rest of the statements I always say are management's responsibility, which includes the board as well. But if we look at that first paragraph there, the report on the financial statements, again, that just describes what we audited during the process. So you have your consolidated statements of financial position, essentially a balance sheet, profit and loss statement, notes to the statements as I mentioned earlier. Again, it's my understanding you can request to see the full set of audited financial statements, but obviously it's not really practical to have that whole document in here. That second paragraph there is management's responsibility. That's essentially what I just spoke about. These are management's set of financial statements, and our responsibility is to audit those, which kind of brings us back into that third section there. So our responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statements as a whole. So we're looking to obtain reasonable assurance when we perform an audit. We're not trying to obtain absolute assurance. I think management, specifically Corey and his team, we'd drive them a little bit crazy if we were looking at every single transaction that the Columbus Association of Realtors, or MLS, conducted during a year. So again, we're looking to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. So there's this concept of materiality. So, I always like to say, if the bank's reconciliation was off $1, is that going to change a reader of the financial statements? Is that going to change a decision that they make? Likely not. But if that is off, $10,000, $20,000, maybe it would. So that's kind of the concept of materiality, and it's very much professional judgment on our part. But we use that materiality, that benchmark, that allows us to perform our testing and determine what is going to be tested. It's a risk assessment process. Another misconception with audits is that we're opining on internal controls. We do assess internal controls within the organization. We document those internal controls. If something came to our attention that was kind of a glaring hole in that process, we definitely bring that to management's attention. We did not find any such glaring holes in internal control. But an audit is not necessarily designed to opine on those internal controls. So I usually like to bring that up as well. Last paragraph there is our opinion. So usually the most important part of this letter here is our opinion. So in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. So again, the term materiality. So this was a unmodified opinion on the financial statements, a clean opinion, unqualified. Those are different terms you hear throughout there. So again, we did not identify any significant entries, adjusting entries that needed to be made to the financial statements. So folks should feel confident in management's ability to produce the financial statements again throughout the year. And I always say when I'm presenting in front of the board is, when they're looking at financial information month after month when I'm not around, or the audit team isn't around, that they should feel comfortable that the information that they're looking at is accurate. The fact that we didn't come in and have a significant number of adjusting entries to the statements should say something to management and the board and their oversight of that. Flipping pages 10 and 11, again, I just wanted to provide here, these are consolidated statements here, so the consolidated statements of financial position consolidated statements of activity. So that includes the Columbus Association of Realtors and MLS combined. So if there's any intercompany transactions between the two, those are eliminated in consolidation. Obviously, I'm not going to walk through each line. I just wanted folks to be able to see, you know, a couple of pages here within the financial statements, and just kind of hone in on some things that we look at. You know, obviously, cash balance, you know, is quite large. Marketable securities or investments, you know, large balances. So we look to make sure reconciliations are being performed, that the internal control process is being followed there. We send confirmations to the third-party financial institutions, making sure that those are being, you know, those amounts are reported accurately. We had no issues as it relates to that. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we document the internal controls there. Then on the liability side, again, we're just looking for cutoff issues, making sure that, you know, all liabilities are captured in the appropriate reporting period. So those are kind of some key areas that we look at as it relates to that statement of financial position or the balance sheet, you know, when we're performing our testing. Going to page 11 in your packet, there is the consolidated statements of activities. So again, you'll see many different revenue streams here. We take a different approach to looking at these. Sometimes it's detailed testing. It's actually, you know, requesting of management to pull, you know, specific documents, supporting documentation as it relates to that, you know, making sure that it's being reported correctly. Some other line items, we might just perform inquiry and analytics and take a look at trends and whatnot. So really just depends on the line item there. But again, we did not identify any significant issues as it relates to the reporting of revenue. Same kind of concept on the expense side. Again, it can be done sometimes analytically. Sometimes we need to pull specific invoices, things like that, and encountered no issues there. So that's all I had on the audited financial statements. You know, again, this is performed annually by the outside CPA firm. Again, we're usually here in the first quarter of the year. So with the year end of 12/31, we're usually in here end of February, early March for about a week or so, performing our testing procedures. So that's kind of a summary of the audit itself. If we turn to pages, actually page 12 here, these are the financial statements for Columbus Realtors through August 31st. So these are more recent set of financial statements here. Again, I want to point out these are non-audited at this point. You know, when we come out here in early 2021, you know, we will, you know, obviously audit these numbers here, but you know, these are non-audited by Ray and Associates right now. You know, I want to highlight, you know, line 1 there, operating cash, again up from the prior year, obviously good. You know, you want to see that kind of cash balance continue to grow at, you know, your ability to cover, you know, current liabilities, you know, current operating expenses there. So that, you know, that's good. And same thing with cash reserves or the investment balance, up from the prior year as well. Again, we've gone through some uncertain times. I'm sure we all watch the news each and every day. You know, so definitely some volatility in the market, but, you know, good to see that the, you know, that cash reserve balance is continuing to grow. Turning to page 13, again, this is the Realtors Statement of Revenues and Expenses. You know, again, just want to highlight the increase in membership dues revenue. Again, you know, membership continues to grow. Great, you know, especially in these uncertain times right now. So, you know, good to see that membership numbers are continuing to go up. You'll see operating revenue is up from the prior year, and you know, definitely right in line with budget, if not above budget there. On the operating expense side, expenses are a little down, probably to be expected, due to COVID. You'll see on line 10 there, meetings is down quite a bit. Obviously, not a lot of travel, not a lot of meetings and whatnot. So, operating expenses are down compared to budget and down overall. You see that in line 16. Flipping to page 14 here, or scrolling to page 14, and these are the financial statements through August 31st for MLS. Kind of the same story, again, operating cash in line 1 there, up from the prior year. Same thing with cash reserves. So very similar story as it relates to Columbus Realtors. You'll notice line 10, accounts payable. That is up over the prior year. I will note there's very little debt with MLS, which is good to note. The MLS did receive a PPP loan this year, so that loan is currently being housed as a liability. By year end, they'll probably, will likely recognize that because there is a forgiveness portion to the PPP loan, but that's currently sitting in there as a liability in that line. And finally, on page 15 for MLS, again, want to highlight line 14 there, total operating income, slightly above budget, which is good, and above the prior year. You'll notice if you look back up to line 9 there, annual member fees, which is the bulk of the revenue side, right on line with budget and up over the prior year. On the expense side, line 24, on the operating expense side, you'll see that, again, right in line with budget and, slightly above the prior year. Obviously, not all bad there. And then the bottom line, line 29, you'll see the net income through August 31st. So that's all I have. I don't know if there's any questions coming through. Otherwise, I'll flip it over to JP for final comments here.
Well, thank you, Brent. And I want to just add a few closing remarks. Our association financials are audited every year by an outside CPA firm. For the past 11 years, the audit has been conducted by the CPA firm of Ray & Associates. Our board of directors review every month a set of financial statements that include much more fine-line detail than what was brought forward to you today. The Budget and Finance and Investment Committee, which includes some members at large, reviews our budgets, the annual audit, the IRS returns, and periodically meets with our investment managers. But finally, members are welcome to review all association financial reports, including the annual audit and IRS returns. Any member wishing to do so should contact me, JP Faulkner, your treasurer, or John Geha. Thank you for your time today.